Hello, good afternoon. In this video, I'm going to discuss the idea of assignment problem, another linear programming problem. An assignment problem is actually uh, a special type of or special case of a linear programming problem, or shall we say a special case of a transportation problem. The goal of assignment problem is to assign M number of resources, and usually the resources are workers, to N tasks. Usually the tasks refers to jobs on a one-to-one basis while minimizing assignment costs. As a general rule, all jobs must be performed by exactly one worker, and every worker must be assigned exclusively to one job. And any worker can be assigned to perform any job, and every time a worker is assigned to perform any job, of course, some costs are incurred, and this may vary depending on the work job assignment. Okay. Now, some basic notations related to the assignment problem. So we use the variable M to refer to the number of workers, and when used as a subscript, okay, for cost or for decision variables, I here varies from 1 to M, and N refers to the number of jobs, and J varies from 1 to N. So the cost is represented by C sub ij, no? Cost incurred in assigning worker I to job J. Okay, so we call that C sub ij. And X sub ij, this refers to our decision variable. That means that worker I is assigned to job J. Now, this is actually binary. When we say binary, that means that your X sub ij can only assume values 1 or 0. Okay. The decision variables can assume only either 1 or 0. 1 if a particular worker or worker I is assigned to job J, while 0 if worker I is not assigned to any job. Okay. Now, the assignment problem may have two types. No, it could be balanced or unbalanced. Now, it is a balanced problem if the number of workers is equal to the number of jobs. And it is unbalanced if, of course, the number of workers is not equal to the number of jobs. In that case, to solve such assignment problem, you have to make sure that the problem is balanced. So you provide a dummy column or a dummy variable depending on which one is less than the other. Okay. Um, we have this as our formulation, no, for the model of assignment problem. So your objective function is a minimization problem, and your objective function is given by minimizing, which is equal to the summation I varies from 1 to M of the summation J varies from 1 to N of C sub ij. This refers to the cost times X sub ij. This refers to the worker assigned to a job. I worker assigned to J job. Okay. The expression here for the objective function may look difficult, but actually this is just the same as having when you convert that to an equation without the summation. This is just the same as minimize z equal to, so you can start from, let's say, C sub 1, 1. That means the cost of assigning worker 1 to job 1, right? Of X sub 1, 1 plus C sub 1, 2. So the cost of assigning worker 1 to job 2 times X sub 1, 1, 2 plus, and so on and so forth. Okay. Plus C sub 2, 1 X 2 X 1 yeah, X 1, 1 plus C sub this is 2, 1, no? 2, 1 plus C sub 2 to X 2, 2 plus, and so on and so forth plus. Here you should have C sub 1, C sub 1 M, X sub 1 M. Here you have C sub 2 M, X sub 1 as X sub 2 M, and so on and so forth. Okay. C sub N, C sub, it should be N here. It should be N. N, 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 and here you have M, 1 X M 1 plus C M 2 X M 2 plus, and so on and so forth plus C M N X M N. Okay, so that's how the objective function would look like. Okay. And then these are your restrictions. Okay. Your 6 sub ij, the sum of x sub ij's is equal to 1, and the sum of x sub ij's is also equal to 1 for I equal to 1 to m, and for j equal to 1 to n. Now, again, remember that x sub ij can assume 1 or 0, depending on whether a worker is assigned to job or a worker is not assigned to job, respectively. These are what we call the non-negativity restrictions. Okay, x sub ij greater than or equal to 0. Now, how do we solve an assignment problem? First, we put this into a matrix table where the workers are placed on the rows and the jobs are placed on the columns. Okay, and the costs of assigning a particular worker to a particular job is placed here inside the table. Okay, and you will notice here these are what we call the uh, restrictions. No, you only have one for the row, first row, first column, second row, and so on and so forth. Also for the first column, second column, and so on and so forth. And the reason for that is only one worker is assigned to one job, to a particular job, okay? That's why you have here one. In a sense, if we think of this as our demand and supply, this is your demand and this is your supply. So only one, the total demand or the total supply is one, while the total demand is also equal to one for a particular job and for a particular worker. respectively. Now, to solve an assignment problem, we use the most commonly method used is the Hungarian method. This was developed by Harold Kohn to solve an assignment problem in polynomial time. And these are the steps, no? For the Hungarian method, it consists also of two phases. The first phase is you do the row reductions and column reductions. And the second phase, you check if the solution is optimized. And if it is not optimized, you do iteration. Okay. So the first step in phase one is we have to check first if the assignment problem is balanced or not balanced. Meaning you make sure that the number of rows and the number of columns are equal. When the number of columns and the number of rows are equal, then you have to assign or add a dummy row or dummy column depending on which one is less than the other. Okay. And when you add a dummy column or a dummy row, then you will have dummy cells where you assign 0 for those dummy cells. Cells that are created due to adding a dummy row or dummy column. Then after making sure that you have a balanced problem, you now apply the row reduction and column reduction. Okay. Row reduction is done by selecting the smallest element in each row and then subtracting the rest of the elements in that row by that smallest element. And you reduce also the new matrix column wise using the same method. Okay, so that means you choose the smallest element in each column and then subtract the remaining values in that column by that smallest value. After doing that, you draw minimum number of lines to cover all zeros, resulting from step 2 and step number 3. You can do this by using row scanning or column scanning, which I will explain later. And whenever applicable, you can use the diagonal rule. This happens only when you have in a particular row, after using the row scanning and column scanning, you are still left with row or column that contains 0. Okay, because the objective actually is to cover all zeros, but when some zeros are not covered using the row scanning and column scanning, then that's the time you use the diagonal rule. Okay. Then after that, you check if the solution is obtained by using the optimality test. And to do that, you count the number of lines drawn on the matrix table and check if it is equal to the order of the matrix. Now, order of the matrix refers to the number of rows or the number of columns. Because in a balanced problem, the number of rows and the number of columns are equal. So the order of a matrix may refer to number of rows or columns after making the matrix or after making the assignment problem balanced. Okay. Then when the optimality is reached, you proceed to number 7. That means that you now have to determine the cells that corresponds to the cost of assigning a particular worker to a particular job. Okay. And then after identifying those cells, you write down the assignment results and find the minimum cost or time. It can be time because sometimes it is not the cost that is being computed, but rather the time. How much time is spent in, for example, assigning a particular machine to a particular task, right? It could be like that, but the principle is the same. But we're going to focus only on the idea that the workers are assigned to jobs. Okay. Now let's illustrate these steps by using this example. So here a 3 by 3 matrix, and this is a balance problem because the number of rows is equal to the number of columns, or in particular, the number of workers to be assigned is equal to the number of jobs. Okay. So in step number 1, we check if you have a balanced problem, right? And we do have a balance problem here. So we proceed to step number 2. This is for phase 1. This is for phase 1. In phase 1, we do step number 1. Okay. And step number 1 is making sure that the number of rows is equal to the number of columns. So that's okay, right? Number of rows for the number of workers is equal to the number of columns, or the number of jobs. Okay. Now for step number 2, uh, we're going to do the row reduction and column reduction. Again, according to step number 2 and step number 3, you reduce the matrix by selecting the smallest element in each row and subtract with other elements in that row. So look at the original problem here. Let's create a matrix table. Okay. In the first row, it corresponds to worker 1. The smallest number there is 9, right? The smallest number is 9. So 9, 15, you subtract after identifying that number. Okay, smallest number 9. You subtract each entry, its entry in the cell in that particular row. So you have 15 minus 9 gives you 6, right? And then 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay. And then 9 minus 9 is, of course, equal to 0, right? And then let's proceed to row 2. The smallest number there is 9. Okay. So 9 minus 9 is 0. 15 minus 9 is 6. 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay. And then the third row, the smallest number is 8. So we have 10 minus 8 is 2. 12 minus 8 is 4. 8 minus 8 is 0. Okay. So that's step number 2. Now, step number 3, we're still in phase 1. Step number 3 is column reduction. So from from step number 2, from the table obtained using step number 2, we apply now the column reduction. That means that starting from the first column, no, we identify the value, the smallest value, then subtract each entry by that smallest value. Now, the smallest value there is 0. So this one is the smallest value, okay? So nothing can be subtracted. In the second column, the smallest value is 1. And in the third column, there are 2 zeros, so either of them can be used. Okay. So column reduction is subtracting each entry in the first column by that smallest number, but doing that won't affect the values, no, because the smallest value is 0. But in the second column, we have the smallest value to be equal to 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 6 minus 1 is 5. 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. Okay. And for the third column, again, the smallest value is 0. So it will not be affected. Okay. Yeah. So this is the obtained matrix using column reduction and row reduction. Now, the next step, and that would be now the phase 2, okay, optimization. So in step number 4, we draw minimum number of lines to cover all zeros using row scanning and column scanning. The objective is to draw a minimum number of lines to cover all zeros, okay? And how to do that? So this will be phase 2 now. Let's copy the obtained table first from step number 3. We have 6, 0, 2, 0, 5, 3, 0, 1, and 0. So what we will do now is to apply row scanning and column scanning to cover, no, all the zeros by lines. And let's apply row scanning first. So this will be step number 4. Okay. Step number 4. Row or column, row and column scanning. Okay. Now, how are we going to do that? First, you're going to start from the first row and check if there is only 1 0 in that row. Okay, check if there's only 1 0 in that row. In the first row, we have 2 zeros. 2 zeros. So if you have 2 zeros there, you cannot mark a line either vertically or horizontally. No, I mean, the idea there is row scanning and column scanning is done this way. Okay, if you start from the first row, check if there is only 1 0 in that row. If there are 2 zeros, then just skip that. Okay, and then you proceed to row 2. Now there is 1 0 in row 2, so you mark that by a square. Although you may do it later, but as early as this, you can actually mark that by a square. And then, since that's the only 0 in the row, in the second row, no, the corresponding column where you mark a square on that 0 will be deleted. Okay, so you remove this. And you remove that column. Then you proceed to the third row. The third row, in the third row, you have 1, 0, right? So mark that by a square. And then the corresponding column will be deleted. Okay? And then, you now check your columns. You're left only with one column. Okay? So a while ago, we have the rows, then the corresponding column will be deleted. Now we look at the rows. The column. The first column is already deleted, so no problem. The third column is also deleted. We now consider the second column. In that column, there is only 1, 0, right? So we mark that. The corresponding row will be deleted. So we delete this row. Okay? And then, after doing that, after doing step number 4, row column scanning, okay, or drawing minimum number of lines to cover all zeros. So take note here that all zeros are covered, okay. We now check the optimality test. According to step number 5, optimality is reached if the number of lines drawn is equal to the number of matrix. So let's check this. How many lines are drawn? We have 2 vertical lines and 1 horizontal line. So that's equal to 3, right? That's equal to 3. So in this case, the number of uh, lines is equal to the order, no? Order of the matrix table, okay? Order of the matrix. And what is the order of the matrix? The order of the matrix is equal to 3 because this is a 3 by 3 matrix. And there are 3 lines, and we have the order of the matrix is equal to 3. So since the optimality is reached, we proceed to number 7. And in number 7, it says take any row or column which has a single 0 and assign by squaring it. Actually, we already did that, no? We already squared those zeros. So in step number 7, you proceed to step number 7 because in step number 5, optimality test is satisfied. The solution is, optimal solution is reached. Optimality is reached. Is reached, okay, or is satisfied. So because optimality is satisfied, according to step number 5, you can proceed to step number 7, where in step number 7, we square off those. Let's copy that. And then place a square over the number, no, the zeros with a square, similar to what we did in step number 4. And then those zeros that are not squared are discarded, okay, as given here. Step number 7, strike off the remaining zeros, okay? Then step number 8, we now compute the assignment result and find the minimum cost time. Okay, so in step number 8, we have we assign look at that no, in step number 8, let's copy the original table. We have worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, job 1, job 2, job 3. So the zero here no, is squared. That means that if this is your worker number and job, then uh, we have the cost. Okay, so to assign worker one is assigned to, as shown by the table in step number 7. Worker 1 is assigned to job 2, right? And the cost is 10. The cost is 10. And then worker 2 is assigned to job 1 and the cost is 9. And then worker 3 is assigned to job 3 and the cost is 8. Okay. Then to compute the cost of assigning these workers to the corresponding jobs, we compute the total cost. So the total cost would be equal to 27, right? 27. This is the minimum cost. Okay. So that's for example number 1. Now, let's try another example. This time, hopefully our next example will not satisfy optimality test right away, so that we can illustrate how to uh, do step number 6. Okay. So let's try this example. So here we have a 4x4 matrix. Again, this is a balanced problem. Again, if you encounter a non-balanced problem, just add a dummy row or a dummy column. Okay, and then assign 0 to the cells caused by adding those rows or columns, right? Again, let's start with phase 1 and step number 1. Step number 1 is making sure that the number of rows and number of columns are equal. So in this case, this is okay. Okay. Then step number 2 is when you do you do reduction of matrix. Okay. Row reduction of matrix and column reduction of matrix. Again, how do we do that? We by subtracting, by selecting the minimum value in each row and subtracting the entries in that row by that minimum value. So let's draw here a matrix. Yeah. Okay, let's consider the first row first. In the first row, the smallest value here is 18. Okay, so we'll subtract each entry, each cell in that row. okay, by 18. So 32 minus 18 will give you 32 minus 18 will give you what's that? 14, right? 14. 24 minus 18 will give you 6. 28 minus 18 will give you 10. And 18 minus 18 will give you 0. Okay? Then the second row, the smallest is 8. So let's subtract each entry by that smallest number. So 17 minus 8 is 9. 8 minus 8 is 0. 13 minus 5 is 13 minus 8 is 5. 19 minus 8 is 11. Okay? And then on the third row, we have 10, no? Being the lowest value. So 15 minus 10 will give you 5. 10 minus 10 is 0. 19 minus 10 is 9. 22 minus 10 is 12. Okay. And then the last row, the smallest is 14. So 21 minus 14 is 7. 27 minus 14 is 13. 20 minus 14 is 6. And 14 minus 14 is 0. Okay, so we're done with row reduction. Let's proceed now to step number 3, the column reduction. Okay. Again, we will create another table. Let's create another table. And then let's identify in each column, let's identify the smallest value, no, in each column. This is column, step number 3 is column reduction. So here we have 5 as the smallest, okay. Here we have 0, so the 2 zeros can be, any of the 2 zeros can be selected. Then we have 5, then we have zeros. Any of the 2 zeros can be selected again, okay. And what we'll do is subtract each entry in that column by that smallest number. So 14 minus 5 will give you 9, right? 9 minus 5 will give you 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. And 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. Then here, 0 is the smallest, so nothing will change. We still have 6 and 0, then 0, then 13. In the third column, we have 5 as the smallest. So 10 minus 5 is equal to 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. 9 minus 5 is 4. 6 minus 5 is 1. Then we have 0 as the smallest. So nothing will change here. 0, 11, 12, and then 0. So we're done with the column reduction. So this is the row reduction. And this one is the column reduction. Okay. We're now ready to do phase 2. And step number 4. Now, what is step number 4? Again, in step number 4, we have to draw lines that will cover all the zeros. Okay. Draw minimum number of lines to cover all zeros using row scanning and column scanning. And to do that, we will copy the table we obtained from step number 3. We'll copy that. And also the entries. No? We have 9, 4, 0, 2, 6, 0, 0, and 13, 5, 0, 4, 1, 0, 11, 12, and 0. Okay? And then we will draw lines that will cover all zeros using row scanning and column scanning. How are we going to do this? We do this by first, let's start from the rows. No? So first row, you ask this question. No? Is there only 1 0 in that particular row? We're starting from the first row. If there is, then you have to mark that zero, only 0, okay, with a square. And then delete the corresponding column. Okay, remove the corresponding column, right? And you proceed to the second row. Now, in the second row, you have 2 zeros, so you skip this. Kasi the condition is there should only be 1 0 in that row. So skip row 2. Let's proceed to row 3. Again, in row 3, you have 2 zeros, so skip that. What about in row 4? In row 4, there's actually 1 0, but that 0 was deleted when we delete uh, the fourth column due to the 0 in the first row is squared, right? So nothing will be changed here in the fourth row. So that's the first part of step number 4. Now let's do the second part. The second part is the column scanning. So here you have row or column scanning, okay? Row and column scanning. That means you draw a line, you draw lines, minimum number of lines to cover all the zeros. Hopefully all the zeros will be covered, okay? So let's check now. After doing the row scanning, let's do the column scanning. So starting from the first column, is there only 1 0 in that column? Yeah, there's only 1 0 in that column. Let's mark that by a square. And then the corresponding row will be deleted by drawing the horizontal line. Then proceed to the second column. There are supposed to be 2 zeros in that column, but since 1 is already deleted, we're left only with 1, right? So when we square that, the corresponding row will be deleted, okay? And then the third column, no more 0, okay? And the fourth column is already deleted. Now, we're done with step number 4, row and column scanning. What we will do now we'll proceed now to step number 5. Step number 5 is optimality test. We'll check if the number of rows, I mean the number of lines is equal to the number of, is equal to the order of the matrix, okay? Whether the number of lines is equal to the order of the matrix. Now, how many lines are there? There are only 3 lines. while the order of the matrix is equal to 4, no? Because this is a 4 by 4 matrix, so they're not equal. In other words, the solution is not yet optimal. Okay? So, not optimal. If it is not optimal, we proceed to step number 6. Okay? We proceed to step number 6. And step number 6 says we select the smallest element of the whole matrix, which is not covered by lines, then subtract this smallest element with all other remaining elements that are not covered by lines, and add the element at the intersection of the lines, while leave the elements covered by single line as it is. In other words, there are 3 things that you're going to do here in step number 6. One is, after selecting the smallest element of the whole matrix which are not covered by lines, there are 3 things that you're going to do. Subtract that smallest element to those entries that are not covered by lines. Second, add that smallest element to the numbers or to the entries in those cells that corresponds to the intersection of lines, and then those for which the line, only one line passes through, leave them untouched. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that for this example. So that would be step number 6. So in step number 6, we're going to copy first, no? Copy the matrix from step number 4. I mean, we'll not copy anymore. From step number 4, we're going to employ step number 6. Now in step number 6, we're going to add, subtract, and retain. Okay? First, what we will do is, maybe we'll copy first the table here. Let's write it in step number 5. So 9, 4, 0, 2, 6, 0, 0, 13, 5, 0, 4, 1, 0, 11, 12, and 0. So again, take note here that the last row, the last column is deleted, right? And then we have here the second row is also deleted. The third row is also deleted. Okay? And then the remaining values there that are not uh, for which the lines did not pass through, no, are 9, 6, 5, 2, 13, and 1. And the smallest among them is 1. That's the smallest. And according to step number 6, for those entries which are not covered by lines, you're going to subtract the smallest elements. Okay? So let's subtract that. Let's subtract that. So 9 minus 1 will give us 8. Okay? 6 minus 5 will give us 6 minus 1 will give us 5. 5 minus 1 will give us 4. Okay. Then 2 minus 1 will give us 1. 13 minus 1 will give us 12. 1 minus 1 will give us 0. And then let's look into the intersection of the lines. We have this 11 and 12. According to step number 6, for the intersection, interest in the intersection, we're going to add the smallest number. So this will become 12 and then 13. Okay, 13. Then the rest of those will be left untouched. So let's just copy them. 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, and then 0. Okay? Yan, that's step number 6. Okay, after step number 6, it says here, go to step number 4. Step number 4 is, in other words, we're going to do iteration na, no? We're going to do iteration. After doing step number 6, you go back to step number 4. Now, step number 4 is you again draw the minimum number of lines to cover all zeros using row scanning and column scanning. That's what we're going to do, okay? So proceed to step number 4. Let's copy the table we obtained from step number 6. In step number 4, again, we're going to do row and column scanning, okay? Okay, so what we'll do now is, let's copy first. You know, the row and column scanning is you identify the, in each row, you identify the value, the 0. There's only one 0, then mark that, then delete the corresponding column, right? So 8, 4, 0, 1, 5, 0, 0, 12, 4, 0, 4, 0, 0, 12, 13, 0. Okay. And then let's do the row scanning and column scanning. So row scanning first. In the first row, there is only one 0 there, right? So let's mark that by a square and then delete the corresponding column. Okay. In the second row, there are 2 zeros there, so we cannot do anything about that yet. So let's skip that. In the third row, there are also 2 zeros, so just skip that. In the last row, in the fourth row, we only have 1 0 because one of them is already deleted. So let's mark this. Okay. Then the corresponding column will be deleted, right? The corresponding column will be deleted. And then we're done with the row scanning, no? Then let's do the column scanning. Okay, column scanning. In the first column, we have 1 0 here. So the corresponding row will be deleted, right? And then in the second column, there are supposed to be 2 zeros, but one is already deleted. So we're left with 1 0. So let's mark that by a square. The corresponding row will be deleted, right? And all zeros are covered, no, by lines already. Now, we'll proceed to step number 5. Step number 5 is optimality test. So step number 5 is optimality test. We will compare the number of lines to the order of the matrix. Okay. Now the number of lines, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 lines. And order of the matrix, of course, since this is a 4 by 4 matrix, we have 4 for the order of the matrix. So we have equal, no? Equal. That means that the optimality is reached. Optimality is reached or satisfied, right? So what do you mean by this? When optimality is reached, you proceed to step number 7. In step number 7, you're going to square those zeros that you find in the row and the column, single zeros, no? And then write off the rest of the zeros. So we actually did that in step number 4. So we need only to copy that for our step number 7. Okay. We have 8, 4, 0, then 1, 5, 0, then 0, 12. We have, what's this, 4, 0, 4. Then this 0 is squared, right? Then we have 0 here. This is also squared. 12, 13, and 0. The rest of the zeros that are not squared are discarded, no? So we're going to discard them. And let's mark those cells that corresponds to 0. They correspond to the solution of our assignment problem. Okay. So in step number 8, in step number 8, your worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, and worker 4, job 1, job 2, job 3, and job 4. So we have uh, the zeros there. That's located in the third row, first column. And in our original matrix, that corresponds to 15. No? 15, right? And then next 0 there is located in the second row, second column, and that corresponds to 8 in the original matrix. Okay. And then we have here first row, last column, that corresponds to 18. And then worker 4 is assigned to job 3. So that's fourth row, uh, third column, and that corresponds to 20. Okay, corresponds to 20. So to summarize, it means that worker 1, so these are for workers, we have jobs and then cost. So worker 1 is assigned to job 4, and the cost of that is 18. Worker 2 is assigned to job 2, and the cost of that is 8. Worker 3 is assigned to job 1, and the cost of that is 15. Worker 4 is assigned to job 3, and the cost of that is 20. Add that, we get, what's that? 16, 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 4, 5. Oh no, 21, 2. So this is 60, 61. So hence, the minimum cost is 61. Okay? The minimum cost is 61. Uh, when we meet on Friday, I'm going to discuss how to use Excel solver in solving assignment problem. And I will also give some announcements related to our final exam next week. Thank you, and God bless.